action.
Hey peers, Jacquelyn here, and welcome to our show. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 2, and we have something great in store for you today. We're going to speak with Christopher Beltran, who is a talent acquisition specialist at Mountainside Hospital Medical Center. Just kidding. We're going to speak with him today about giving suggestions from a recruiting perspective to our peers who are job seekers. Chris, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So let's walk our job seekers through from start to finish with the process of finding a job and being interviewed through a talent acquisition specialist and then segueing to an employer. Okay. So from the beginning, when you are having these conversations with the employer, which is your client, what, besides the specific requirements for the job, what are they looking for in general with job seekers today?
So today's job seekers, pretty much what we're looking for from them, someone who can, keep a job. So a little bit of job longevity. I know today's current market is a lot different than 10 years ago where, everyone worked at a company for about 10, 15 years. Right. I know it's about 3 to 5 year average now. Mm-hmm. So anyone who's been at a position, anywhere between 1 to 3 years is kind of what they're looking for. Someone who is a go-getter, someone who is ambitious, able to speak about themselves, have a outgoing personality, of course, depending on the field. But yeah, those are a couple of things that they're looking for.
So I write resumes for people, and when people send me resumes and their original resumes, and I look at them and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have things that when I see them, I can't stand it. Like, it's my pet peeve. So I'm going to ask you, what are your top 2 or 3 pet peeves when you look at resumes, and I'll tell you mine.
Okay. So my biggest pet peeve is not seeing some of the responsibilities that you do in your job under the job that you work. So if I put that I work at Mountainside Medical Center in talent acquisitions, and then I just go into the next job and not give at least 5 bullet points of what I do, that's my biggest pet peeve. Okay. And then also things that I do see, unfortunately, are I don't see dates.
Okay.
Or you might just put the year that you worked there. And just to get a little bit granular, to put the month at minimum, the month and the year.
Right.
That's another big pet peeve.
Okay. I would say for me it's the flow of the resume. Like, if the flow doesn't make sense, if it's like a choppy read, like, that is something that really is a big pet peeve of mine. And also a very basic old school typewriter appearance, because that means that this person has not really done research to know that in today's market you need to make your resume stand out. And if you're pulling up your resume from the same template and the same format that you had years ago, that you're not doing your due diligence to make yourself stand out. Exactly. So those are 2 things that I'm like, come on now, you guys gotta do better. But I mean, you hire companies like JWR and LLC, and we will help you with that resume. Shameless plug. So also, you have things that you don't like, but what things, when you look at the resume, do you say, oh, I like to see this, or this is somebody that really is trying to get this job?
I guess that seamless format to where it's the job is on the left, the date is on the right, so I can clearly see. I don't have to go line by line to actually try and find out where things are. That's the biggest thing to me, is just having things identifiable really quick. Yeah. Because myself, I go through maybe 100 resumes an hour. So I don't have time to literally try and cipher through and read every single line. So if I can look and see you worked here this time, and then maybe 2 or 3 bullet points that can kind of relate you to the job, the job description and requirements, then I love that.
Okay. So speaking on that, would you suggest job seekers to tailor their resume to the job that they are applying, the job posting that they are applying to?
100%.
Okay.
You need to, take a look at the job description. If you don't have certain things on your resume that you do at your job, but you might not have thought to put it, but you see it in the job description online,
Right.
100% recommend to do that. Because a lot of companies have databases where the job application website and the resume, they pull keywords.
Right.
So if you don't have those keywords on your resume, some recruiters might not take the time to actually go through certain resumes. If they don't see a number match, they're just going to skip to the next resume, and that'll, disqualify you automatically from the position without even having your resume seen.
And what percentage would you say of resumes get disqualified from the job?
Depending on the type of position, like an admin assistant, I can get 200 resumes a day, and that I'm not going to go through every single resume, so I'm going to rely on the calculated database to look and give me the best resumes to cipher through. So I would say at least 50 to 60% are automatic disqualifiers.
Exactly.
Just because of certain keywords that you're not putting into your resume.
Exactly. Okay, well, you reviewed the resume, you like the resume, you feel like the resume is a good match for the position. Now you'd like to schedule a phone interview. And so when you schedule this phone interview, how should a candidate or a job seeker prepare for a phone interview? What are some important key factors in having a stellar phone interview?
To me, the biggest thing on a phone interview is to be able to have a flow of your story. If you can, tell a recruiter or a talent acquisition specialist about yourself and then kind of transition that into your work history, why you want to be at that job, and then where you're at now, that's a seamless, stellar phone interview that I would highly recommend to my directors to bring them in for an interview, because they're able to talk about their experience. They're able to talk about why they love what they do or why you got into that field, and then be able to just articulate things.
Okay, so I had a weird situation one time. I used to conduct phone interviews, and I've also had several phone interviews for myself. I never really do a ton of research on the company before I get an interview. I'm typically just applying to the job. I'll look at the company overview, with the job posting, see what they're about, and that's it. If the job description matches what I do and what I'd like to do, then I'll apply. So I had a phone interview one time, and the lady was asking me a history about the company, and I froze, and I'm like, what? Like, this is supposed to be 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes max. And she was really asking specific questions about the job. So I have my phone next to me, and I have my laptop, and I'm like Googling the website, and I'm not answering it quickly enough. And I'm just like, I was just surprised by that. Do you ever do that? And do you recommend candidates to do extensive research? Of course, do a little bit to be familiar, but the questions that she was asking, it was like timeline based and like new products and things of that nature, and I'm in HR. I'm not like in sales or anything, so I was really surprised by that. So what do you advise?
So honestly, I would go, it never hurts to fully research the company and have these things on hand. So I would definitely recommend to research as much as possible, especially if it's a phone interview. They can't see on the other side if you're reading off of something. Right. So I would recommend researching everything that you can. But then I would also recommend to have it based on the type of position that you're going into. If you're going into sales, you need to know everything about the company, ins and outs, that you can find online.
Right.
If you're going into, so I guess in my field of healthcare, I would definitely want to know, maybe certain statistics that the company has, that I might be able to kind of impress the person that I'm on the phone with, to say, oh wow, they really did their research. So it could honestly go basis to basis. If I'm, looking for an admin assistant,
Right.
I don't really think that they should know the, entire, not saying that they shouldn't, but I'm not going to, kind of put them in the ringer for
Right.
knowing the ins and outs of the company.
For that initial interview.
For the initial interview.
Of course, in-person interview, do your research,
Yes.
take your notes, have all of that with you so that you can just go down the list.
Exactly.
And that, I thought that was really like, I was a little bothered by that. Because I'm like, one is HR, and HR is a position behind the scenes anyway.
Exactly.
So I'm just like, all right, well, maybe they have too many candidates that they like the resume, and now they're just trying to be really tough. But I guess do your research. Better to have more information than less. So
Exactly.